I would like to officially welcome everyone this morning to our Code Cafe today. I'm very excited about this one. I'm excited to have our friends from Hattrick-IT, Martín, Zúñiga, and Gastón, Kosut. They are going to present some really interesting tech. Real briefly, Hatrick is based out of Uruguay and also has some offices in Los Angeles. They are a mobile development firm that specializes in health and well-being apps. Martin, if you could give us probably a better description of what Hatrick does.
Sure. Thanks, Jason. Thanks a lot for the intro. And yeah, I'm going to share a bit about us in just a second. Let me start with the presentation and share my screen. Let me know when you can see it. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, well, thanks a lot for the intro and thanks a lot for having us. It's a real pleasure to be here. And as Jason said, we're going to be talking about how we integrated Flutter and Unity into a single well-being app. And this is how the presentation is going to be structured. First of all, we're going to be talking a bit about Hatrick and just to give everyone some context around what we do. Then we're going to talk about the project which led to this solution, which is a client project that we did for one of our clients. Then we'll briefly describe the task that we were tasked to help them with, the solution that we came up with that makes for this interesting experience that we wanted to share with you, and just a few lessons learned and some caveats we found when integrating these technologies. We're going to do a very short demo so everyone sees the project in action, because it's a cool project that involves a wearable, and we thought that it might be fun to show it out. And after that, we'll be happy to answer any questions from the audience. So if anyone has any questions, you can post them on the chat and we'll answer them when we finish. Okay. Okay, so just to give you a brief intro about Hatrick, we are a mobile-first products development studio. So we focus on mobile first, of course. We've been around for 7 years now. We started back in 2014. We've worked on more than 65 mobile-related projects for clients in 11 countries. So that's a bit about our background. As you can see here in the slide, we are at the core of what we do are iOS and Android. That's why we're mobile first. But we also feel comfortable working with technologies that surround that ecosystem or that could work along those in a product. So we can, of course, work on a web app that is a companion app or a different way to access your content, or it could be a wearable app using watchOS or Wear OS. It could be Android Auto, iPadOS, tvOS, or others. These are the kind of things we do and what we feel most comfortable with. Then the main tools in our toolkit, since we're mobile first, of course, in chronological order, we're first Swift and Kotlin, because when we started with native development, but we've been doing Flutter for hybrid apps for quite some time now. We've been really enjoying it, and it has become our go-to tool for when we build hybrid apps. So those are the tools that we use the most. To tell you guys a bit about the project, as I mentioned before, it is a client project. Sorry, I missed one slide. There it is. So the client, the company is called Brainco. It is a very interesting company based out of Somerville, Massachusetts. They grew out of the Harvard Innovation Lab, and they developed cognitive training technology products and applied their expertise in machine learning, design, and neuroscience to create innovative cognitive-based applications. So one of the products one of their main products is the FocusCom suite, which is comprised of two different parts. One of them is the FocusCom headband that you can see in the slide, and which is a wearable that connects via Bluetooth to the app. And the other is the FocusCom app. So together they help users learn how to control their mindset in just a few minutes per day. Here in the screens, you see what a typical workflow in the app would look like. So first, the user would wear the headband, of course, and pair it using a straightforward mechanism to pair the device with the app. Then after the device is connected, they can select out of a very big base of activities and games and mindfulness, meditation sessions that they can perform while wearing the headband. And at the third screenshot, you can see what one of the games looks like. And you can see at the bottom right that you have the column bubble, which shows the user the column level that they have at the moment. So it goes from 0 to 100, 100 being the most calm. So the idea is to perform these actions while being the most calm possible. So the task that we were given by the client, or what they wanted us to help them with, was helping them take their games, or the games available in Focus Calm, to the next level. So basically they started with some very simple games with very simple mechanics and graphics. And first they wanted to test the waters in terms of playability and how the games performed, or using the headband and that. But then they decided they wanted to improve the games that they offered in their app, and they wanted to be able to build games that are a bit more complex, or a bit detailed in terms of graphics. So how are these games played? They take input from two very different factors. One of them is the neurofeedback captured by the headband, which we are using to modify certain aspects of the game. So that is something that plays a key factor in the games. And the other is user input, like you would have on any mobile game. It could be the user tapping or scrolling or swiping in different areas, just like any other mobile game. A couple of technical constraints that we had when thinking of a solution to this problem was that the platforms, the app, the Focus Calm app, is available for our iOS and Android, and the app is built using Flutter. So that's something we needed to keep in mind, of course, and the solution we came up with needed to be compatible with those restrictions. So with these restrictions in mind, we had a certain criteria that the framework we went with to build the games with should have. First of all, we decided we wanted to build to use a framework, a game framework, because we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to leverage something that was already out there and that could allow us to build great games with good speed. So it was a matter of deciding which framework we were going to use. So the first thing that it should allow doing was embedding the games inside the Flutter app. We already had the Flutter app, so it needed to be something that we could embed inside there. That was very important. It was really nice to have that it be cross-platform. That's something that was desirable for the client, because they prefer doing things that way, because it helps them save development time, and that's why they chose Flutter for the Focus Calm app. So it was ideal that the framework was cross-platform. It should perform smoothly on widely used devices, and this was not a huge requirement. It was not that it needed to be compatible with or to work smoothly on very old devices. It was just a matter of the devices, or most devices available out there, working well with the games. So that's something that was very important too. And the last thing was that it should allow building games with complex physics easily. So that's something I mentioned before, but of course was very important to us. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the solution, and for that I'm going to hand the presentation to Gastón, who is one of our co-founders at Hatrick, and he is the CTO of the company and was also the lead person on this project from our side. So he knows the solution very well, and we'll present it to you guys.
Okay. Hello guys, hello everyone. First of all, thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here. Let me share my screen and start talking about the solution we made. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen? It's okay, perfect. So, well, as Martin mentioned, the idea of this solution was to take the Focus Calm games to the next level. So we started researching about the different platforms we have to develop this kind of games. we based our research in three main components, which are native iOS and Android frameworks to develop games, Flame, which is the most popular Flutter game engine, and Unity and Unreal, which are bigger frameworks to develop games and most well-known frameworks. As you can see in the comparison chart, for example, the native iOS and Android framework were not cross-platform, and that was a desirable thing for the solution that gave, that made us to discard this option. Flame, as you can see, doesn't allow you to develop 3D games, and that was something required for the new games. And also, it doesn't have a big community support. That was one of the other things that made us discard the Flame framework. And Unity and Unreal Engine are basically were marking all the check marks, so we decided to go with one of them. After deciding this, we needed to see which was better for this kind of mini games that we were developing. And we started researching about them, and we saw that Unity was better suited for mobile projects because it consumes less resources, and that was a big difference when you want to run this app in a mobile environment. It has less visual details, but it's more developer friendly. And the Unreal Engine is, of course, it has more visual detail, but it's more like designer friendly and not so developer friendly. That was another reason that we compare, another criteria we compare. Unity, it's better for a smaller project, and as we were developing mini games, it seemed to be a good solution for that. And also we saw that the Unity framework was using C# to develop, or as a language, as a development language, and that increased the development speed. So based on these things, we came to the conclusion to use Unity as the framework. After doing that, we needed a way to basically embed this Unity framework inside a Flutter app. And this is a key piece in the puzzle, as it said in the title, because we found this library which basically does that, allow us to embed the Unity module into the Flutter, into a Flutter widget. This library is created by Chelsea Cliff, and it was very important in our solution. But we had the framework chosen, we had the plugin, the library that we were going to use, but we needed to create a way to communicate between these things. So as you can see here, this is not an architectural diagram. It's basically the communication between the modules we can see here. And in the first layer, in the top layer, you can see that we have like the Headband SDK, which is developed natively, and that handles all the communication between the app and the headband. We have another layer, which is the app logic, which is developed in Flutter. And as you can see in that layer, we have like the timer, the count bubble, the close button. Those widgets were developed in Flutter and were already developed for the other games. So we try to reduce and keep the same layout for these new games. And at the bottom layer, we use the, let's say, the Unity widget, which handle all the logic for the games, but not the main component that we were developing and we were keeping from the old games. So after having this diagram to create a solution, we realized that we needed a way to communicate the minigame logic of the games with the app logic in Flutter. And for this problem, we were using this library that we mentioned before, and this library has mechanisms to communicate these two components, Flutter and Unity. And as you can see in the next slide, we have a way, or we have a couple of examples to communicate the communication between Flutter to Unity and the communication from Unity to Flutter. In the first box, you can see that we have the method set rotation speed, but basically what it does is post a message to the Unity module, letting him know that to the scene cube, execute the method set rotation speed with the parameter speed. That is sending this information to the Unity module. And we have a way to receive a message from Unity in the Flutter app, which is the second box. It's a callback called on Unity message, and you can receive there a message from Unity, and you can do whatever you need from the Flutter environment. So this is the bidirectional communication we have between Flutter and Unity. And also, besides this mechanism to communicate these two modules, we have other methods that help bridge the gap between Unity and Flutter. So, for example, we have on Unity Created, which basically you receive the controller, which allows you to send messages to the Unity module. This is in the Flutter environment, and you can receive events from the Unity module, for example, on Unity scene loaded. This is something that you could need to do something in the Flutter environment when a scene finishes his loading process. So this is there are other methods, but the idea was to show some examples of them. Well, after having the Unity, after starting with the Unity development, we saw a couple of things that we could, or a couple of benefits that we could use from Unity. One of them was the remote configs. Here, the remote configs. This is something that is fully managed by Unity. It's like some fields, some settings that you can tweak, adjust remotely, and allow you to change something in the game without the necessity of releasing a new build. This is very useful because, for example, in our game, the Cave Quest, as you can see in the device, we have two modes. One mode is when you are in the zone, which is basically when you are above certain threshold. You are in the zone, you are calm, and when you are below that threshold, you are like less calm, and you are out of the zone. So to improve the playability of this game, we modify the speed on those two modes, and that allowed us to get a better or an improvement in the game without releasing a new build, just using the first one we created, or just one of them. And this is what this was one of the benefits of using Unity. And the other that we used was the content delivery. Let me checking a lot. Yeah, Unity Cloud Content Delivery. And this is like a repository where you can store all the assets you are going to use in your app. And in a certain moment in the app, you can start the downloading process of those assets without including them in the initial package. So that reduces a lot the app file size. In our case, it was approximately 20 megabytes per minigame. So imagine that if we were adding a lot of minigames, the size could be huge. So that was a great addition for the app. And also it allows us to avoid the limitation or the constraint that Apple App Store and Google Play have in terms of app size. So yeah, basically this avoided that limitation. And as I mentioned before, both Unity Cloud Content Delivery and remote configs were fully managed by Unity. So that basically allow us to develop this in an easy way. Well, so yeah. After having this solution working, we have some caveats and some lessons that we learned, some caveats we found and some lessons we learned. And one of them was when we were integrating Flutter and Unity, we faced a couple of issues with the library, basically. Let me say that the library or the experience developing using the library was incredible, but of course it has a couple of bugs that we luckily we could solve, and also based on some GitHub issues that we were like reviewing and some recommended solutions, we could solve them. But let me try to give a couple of examples. For example, when we were using the code editor of Unity, we need to, using the plugin developed for Juicy Cliff, we needed to export the Android package and the iOS package of the Unity games. And if we do if we were like running first the Android export, and after that running the iOS export, we were facing some reference issues. That was solved doing just a re-import of the plugin in the code editor. That was something that removing the old version of the previous version of the plugin and re-added that allowed us to export the iOS package without any issue. This is an example of that, of some of the bugs we faced. The other one was a messaging issue. After certain update of the library, we started to see a crash in the iOS app when we were receiving, or when a scene was being loaded in the widget, in the Unity widget. And that was because for some reason, or for a bug in the update of the library, we with this, when this method from Unity was sent, the iOS app was crashing. So the solution for this, which is not ideal, but it works, was comment out the method in the Unity plugin, in the Unity plugin, commented the method which was sending that message to the Unity. This is not ideal because you could need that method, but at this point we weren't using that method, so it solved our problem, and that's working. Some of the conclusions after developing this solution. First of all, we were able to have a Flutter app running and Unity module running at the same time, communicating between them without any hassles. I think that it's very important because we could think that you could face some performance issues, but the app is working perfectly. You can run a game smoothly with a Flutter module, with a Unity module, and communication between them without any issue. So that is a good conclusion. Also, as we were using Unity, we could build complex physics games or with complex graphics and physics. And the important thing here is that we, without sacrificing the app performance, and even without sacrificing the size, the app size, because of the use of the content delivery. So this is another important thing. The last conclusion, it's at the beginning we saw that integrating Flutter, an IoT device, a wearable device, and Unity was pretty complicated, but we could integrate them in a single app. But the most important thing here that we could implement most of the components of this solution in a cross-platform way, which reduced a lot the development effort. So that is another important thing. Now I'm gonna try to do a live demo. Let me try to share my device and show you the demo wearing the headband. As you can see here, I have the headband here. So let me try to do this. As you can see in the main screen, you can see like the count bubble increasing or decreasing depending on your calm level. And if you can give me a couple of seconds, I'm gonna try to get calm and show you how this level is increasing. It's not the best scenario to get calm, but I'm gonna try to do that. So give me a couple of seconds. Well, I'm not getting calm, sorry guys, but it's not the best scenario. But the idea is, the idea was to show that value increasing or decreasing. It's not the, as I said, it's not the best case to get calm. But anyway, let me show how a game behaves when you get calm or less calm. And let me show that. Here we have the Cape Quest game. As I mentioned before in the slide, we have like when you are in the zone and when you are out of the zone, the spaceship get fly faster or slower based on that behavior. So let me show the game. You also have the input of your finger, and you need to avoid the obstacles. At this point, the speed is faster, but we're giving the game a couple of seconds to of course, the logic of the game is if you are flying faster, you can get more points because you pass through more obstacles. But at certain point, here in this case, I'm up below the threshold and the speed of the spaceship is slower. Even you have a relaxation tip at that point, like to increase your calm level. So when I am above the threshold, the spaceship starts flying faster again. Well, this is basically the demo. Sorry for not getting calm, but yeah, that is something that it could happen. So yeah, I'll let Martín to wrap up the presentation, and thanks for everything. Go ahead, Martín. You are mute. You are mute.
Thank you. Thanks, Gastón. For what it's worth, I was going to say that the calm level was increasing, but it was increasing a bit slowly compared to other times. But it did seem to be increasing. I wouldn't have been able to to pull it off. I wouldn't be able to calm then. Okay. Can you guys see my screen, the presentation? Thank you. Okay, so that was the demo, and before wrapping up, we just wanted to thank a few people for this presentation. First of all, we wanted to thank Jason for the invite. He was the one that invited us to talk at this Code Cafe, and we wanted to thank him and the entire Sandberg team and Tanika too, who helped a lot in putting all this together. It was a real pleasure for us to be able to show some of what we're doing here today. So thanks a lot to you guys. We also wanted to thank Brainco. We've been working with them for 3 years now, and we are very grateful for the opportunity to participate in the project. And we also thank them a lot for allowing us to showcase what we do, what we're doing with them, and what we've achieved together. So great shout out to them. Just a sec. We also wanted to thank Tom, who was the lead Unity developer on the project. He's a very senior Unity developer, and we couldn't have done this without him because his experience with Unity was very important for this. And we also wanted to thank GitHub user Juicy Cliff, who is responsible for one of the components that we're using that is very important, and it's a key piece in in our solution. So it's a community, it's an open source project, and we really appreciate the work he does. And I wanted to give credit where it's due. Sorry. So, and lastly, we wanted to thank everyone in our team, and mostly and to the people who participated in the presentation or in helping make this presentation, Maria and Katia and Diego and the whole team. So yeah, we wanted to thank everybody and thank everybody who attended. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. So yeah, I don't know if some of them were posted in the chat or.
Yeah, there was a couple questions. I have a ton of questions if nobody does, but there was, I think, a question by Mike asking if the project was open source and if people could be beta testers.
Yeah, this is not an open source project, not at the moment, at least. And the thing is, you need to have the headband to use it. The app works with the headband. You can purchase it at Focus.com site. We can share the link on that. It's the Brainco site is brainco.tech. And you can find the link to the Focus.com product there. It sells for retail and it's available to the public. So if anyone is interested, they can purchase it there. But at the moment, it's not an open source project.
Cool. Gung Ho's asking, any upgrade plan down the road to let the headband control and fly the ship?
Well, the roadmap is not on our side because that's defined by the client. So I couldn't say for sure, but the idea is to improve the way games are played and to make the neurofeedback component ever more important or key in the games. So for instance, you have one of the games that is included in the app. It's a version of I don't know if you remember the game Flappy Bird, where the bird flies between pipes, and the way we developed it is that game is strictly controlled by the head, but the way it works is you are when you are concentrated, when you are calm, the bird flies through the pipes, and if you are not calm, the bird falls or crashes and then falls. So that is one example. It's a very basic game because it flies automatically, but it also adjusts based on the neurofeedback. So I understand the guys at Brainco want to keep innovating in that regard.
Cool. Fernando's asking, do you need an active Wi-Fi connection for the Unity cloud to work properly? Or does the app offer an offline mode?
Yeah, I can answer this question. The app has an offline mode in terms of, well, I mean, when you are running all the other games which are not related with Unity, you can apply them in an offline mode. But at least you need to have once a Wi-Fi connection to download all the assets. After that, you can play the game offline. But at least once you need to download all the assets. For that reason, you need an active Wi-Fi connection. But yeah, after doing that, which is a once-time process, you can play all the games without connection.
Nice. I've got a question. Oh, if anyone else has a question, feel free to unmute yourself and jump in.
Sorry, Jason. I think John wrote, have you run into any limitations using Flutter and Dart over native?
Good catch.
Yeah, just to answer that, John, thanks for the question. We didn't, and it was a very good surprise. When we started with the solution and tried to see which framework we were going to use, we did some research and we found some people that had issues integrating Unity with other hybrid frameworks, but not with Flutter. So that was a question and definitely a warning. So what we did was at the beginning, we tried with a very simple proof of concept, and we saw that everything worked worked smoothly. And that's why we went with that solution, and then we ended up implementing it. So no, we didn't find any hiccups or difficulties when doing Flutter instead of native. Hope that answers the question.
And Pablo has kind of a follow-up to that one.
Sorry, Jason. No, it seems to be a similar question, and yeah, we didn't have any issues whatsoever, not until now, and we think Flutter was a very stable platform for this. So.
Yeah, as Martin pointed out here, when we were researching this, we read about some issues using other cross-platform and frameworks. But the thing is that we made as Martin said, a proof of concept that it was working very good, and but it was very important, the performance and the stability for these games. And yeah, it's working smoothly, and yeah, you can download the app and see if you have a smart headband and a smart band. You can test the games, and you're gonna see that they run very, very nice.
To answer Hamid's question, we have tried on iOS and Android too. We did the demo just in iOS now, but the app is available on both platforms, and we have tried it, and also users have used it, and it seems to be working well.
So Diego's asking.
Yeah. The answer the Diego question. There is an SDK implemented by Brainco, the owner of the headband, and they gave us they gives us a callback where we receive the attention level, and with that level we used to. I mean, the attention level basically is the opposite to the calm level. So basically we're using that value to calculate the calm level. But yeah, that's the feedback we received from an SDK implemented by Brainco. And that is the value. I don't know if Martin wants to go deeper in this, but I think that we don't have like a technical answer for the feedback the headband gives us.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's in the core business of the client of Brainco, and they are the ones that developed the SDK. We know that the SDK is built natively. Some of that they used to build their products natively, so I'm guessing one of the reasons they went with building the SDK in Flutter, like bridging with native iOS and Android components. Maybe it was to leverage what they already had from their native apps that they had before. But yeah, that would be it. Sorry, I'm trying to read.
I'll read Ernesto's out loud so that everyone can hear. So great presentation. Since you're combining a lot of platform libraries and languages, I was wondering what kind of team capabilities and scope was needed for developing the project.
Yeah, sure. Well, in the project we had Unity is not at the core of what we do, as we. It was not reflected in the slide that we had in the presentation, but it's not something we always do. We are not game developers, so it was very important for us to have this developer Tom who worked with us in the project, and he is very senior in that. So it was very important to have someone that had that level of seniority in Unity. That was very important. Of course, Flutter development knowledge was very important too. We had participating in the project. There are game designers, motion designers, illustrators who are building all the assets and everything needed for the games. And I think that would be it.
And then Juan asked, Gaston, have you found any Unity limitations, restrictions with the library you use to integrate Unity into Flutter?
Okay, I mean, we didn't find any limitation in terms of functionality. We found a couple of issues that we resolved, but in terms of limitation of the library, we didn't find that. But we are not using, or we are not, we don't have a time constraint, because we are like using events that don't need to be instantly, or because you need to receive an event from the Unity game. Let's say you hit an obstacle or something like that, and you need to show something in the Flutter app, but it's not something super real time that you need to show that message. But maybe if you are like doing something which needs a real time communication, a heavily real time communication, you could have some kind of issue. But in our scenario, that limitation wasn't happening. So, but yeah, that could be an issue that I imagine. But the answer for this question is no. We didn't find any limitation.
Cool. I've got one question for you guys. Since Flutter can allow you to deploy this app to basically any platform, is there any plans, or is what would be the level of effort to move this app to other platforms, whether a desktop app, or I guess desktop would be the first place I would think of.
Yeah, sorry, off the top of my mind, Gaston, I would say that it needs development of the SDK. That's very important, because as it's built natively on iOS, and for iOS and Android, you would have to build a Flutter version of the SDK, or building it strictly for desktop. But I don't know, maybe you have other.
That's the main issue I see. I mean, the core of the communication with the headband is developed natively. So actually it's an iOS module. And so moving this to a web scenario or something like that should imply that implementation, the communication with the headband, which is not that is, I think, but that's a limitation I see for other more than, I don't know, Android and iOS. We are sure that it's working, but in our web development, that communication could be an issue.
Yeah, and also probably games would need some design tweaks, because they are built for a certain type of screen, and also I don't think it would be something that would be very easy, like a plug and play thing that you would be able to export it to other platforms. But I don't see any reason why it would not be possible with a reasonable amount of effort.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. I didn't see any additional questions in chat. If anyone does have additional questions, we'll post the contact info for Hatrick and the team, both in emails and in the description of the video that will be posted later. Maria just, posted LinkedIn information for everyone to contact you guys with. I want to thank you guys again for the presentation and answering all the questions. Before we kind of close up here, I do want to, announce the results of the poll in case anybody's interested. So we had 3 general questions. What platforms do you have products for? And the dominant one was for iOS, followed by Android. Some wearable folks, which is actually kind of cool. Next question was, what do you use for mobile development? Native, Flutter, React Native, or others? We can see here that Native is still the dominant player here, but followed not too far by React Native and Flutter. And then the last question, how are you using Flutter now? Are you using it in production apps, actively developing, or just exploring the framework, but not at all? And this one I thought was pretty well evenly split, but it seems like a lot of folks are interested in knowing more about Flutter. So if you are interested in learning more about Flutter, or at least Flutter with Semvered, our next Code Cafe event next month is on showcasing the Semvered Flutter SDK. I think I'm out of focus today. And I'll just keep doing this. I don't know why I think this will help the camera focus on me when I could just lean in. Probably would make more sense. But anyways, Okay, yeah. So next month we have an event. So you can check out the link down there. Martin, Gastón, do you guys have any last things you'd like to let people know about?
No, I don't think so. Just our contact info is there in the chat. Our LinkedIn accounts are there, and then maybe some contact info of Hatrick will be in the follow-up email of the Code Cafe. But I just wanted to thank everyone for attending, and thank you, Jason and Tanika and the December team for having us. It was great to be here.
Cool, awesome. All right, thank you, everyone. Have a great day and a great rest of your day, and we'll see you at the next one.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.